Hey guys, it's wqqqqwrt here with a Link to the Past Mirror Shield run. It's kind of a fun run. I will do a countdown. Alright. 3, 2, 1, go! So, this category is kind of underran, in my opinion, but it's really fun. Kind of short, kind of simple. It's basically Light World, and then it's a sample of Dark World. You get the Mirror Shield, which is the item of T-Rock. The reason it exists at all, or like why do you get the Mirror Shield, is because it's the last item in the Dark World, and you never get heart containers. You never get heart containers. Yeah, so you don't heal in Dark World. That's kind of the gimmick. Makes it kind of fun. It's actually a lot easier than it sounds, though, because you only do about half of most of the Dark World dungeons. So it actually ends up being pretty easy. There's a few hearts along the way to heal you, too, which is nice. And yeah, I think it's a great category for like newer players. No one really runs it, unfortunately. Most people do Master Sword, which I think is a terrible category. This category is a lot better. They're both titled MS too. So. Really basic introduction of the game. If you're wondering, if you've played before, you probably know. But if you like mash the diagonals, if you notice my movements are kind of weird. If you mash like mashing the upper left while you're walking upper left, you move faster. So most of Escape and Eastern, it's mashing diagonals, which is kind of annoying, but it is what it is. Another thing about speedrunning in this game, there's a lot of like weird types of lag. If you walk into doors improperly and on rails are really unsafe. So it's really hard to explain, but if you start playing the game and read a guide, you're like, oh my god, like these rails right here, that's staircase as you go up it. You want to enter it like precisely, otherwise you lose a ton of frames. And also, every time you enter a door case and a staircase, you need to like mash the diagonals, which is really annoying. This is kind of the first boss. He's a lot higher than he looks. Okay, that went pretty good. Sometimes when you slash on him, your sword will clank on the on his chain. Another thing, when you come out of the spiral staircases, if you hold down, you'll you lose 8 frames on like some kind of weird lag. So you want to hold left or right, and it'll cancel it. Again, it's like really subtle, advanced, you know, intermediate techniques for the most part, and a lot of it you like really don't. You have to just someone has to just tell you. My favorite room in Escape. Nice. There's actually quite a bit of RNG in this game, which is really annoying. But I like this category because Light World has a lot of RNG, and halfway through Light World, at the end of Light World, you get Aghanim, the wizard infamous of killing all runs, and Dark World kind of makes Aghanim less valuable, you know, less relevant, which is nice that you do Dark World in this run. So it makes it a little bit more like approachable. And actually, Dark World in this run is super consistent, except for T-Rock and Meyer, which are like pretty RNG heavy. Which I think is really fun because it makes running it kind of fun because you really don't know what you're gonna get. Even if you get a bad Light World, you could get lucky at the end. Apparently something, I guess it wasn't discovered. It was kind of like, I think a lot of runners knew this in the back of their mind, but if you boomerang an enemy, like when you're right up next to it, it's a little bit quicker. Like 3 or 4 frames, which, you know, it's really good. That's actually a really good time save. But you have to be literally like right next to it. It's just kind of risky. Pretty good key rat. Really good room here. If you're not interrupted, you can pump on the left wall. You can mash left on that whole wall the whole distance, and you save like 0.4 seconds or something. Actually, a pretty good escape. Now, Sinker in this run is pretty it's very debatable whether to get it, because optimally it's actually faster to get the heart in that chest right there. But you need some good RNG, and if you don't get the RNG, it's either tied or it's a lot slower, but usually it's tied or it's faster. So it's usually a good idea to get it, but like just running the numbers, it's almost always better to skip it. Although you don't heal in this category, so it's kind of nice to get it just for safety's sake. It does make the run much more completable, especially for like newer players. Probably gonna die now because skip Sinker. I've been practicing a lot lately and it has gone very poorly, so. I don't. Right there is awful as Octrox do 1 heart of damage, and walking into them really sucks. So, trying to play it safe. That's fine. That's fine. In my opinion, as long as you don't die, it's a good run. It's kind of the goal. The goal of this run is definitely to not die. Eastern's pretty much like Escape. It's a lot of just like walking movement. There's a few more like important rooms, which is kind of nice. Overall, it's definitely harder, but it's still like really easy. A lot of walking. Shoot. I think the map in that last room is totally useless. In that room, you actually don't want to hold diagonal out of the doorway. It loses some small number of frames, which is really weird. And again, it's one of those things where it's like, unless someone just tells you how to do it, it's kind of impossible to figure it out. Right here, you want to boom this guy right next to him. I don't think I got the frame reduction right there, but. You can kind of tell once you get it. Entering doors again, like I walk up right next to the door and then press left into it. Well, that's like the first point in the game where you can really lose a run or die if you fuck that up. I mean, mess that up. Not bad. Good RNG there. This dude, this skeleton, like always blocks you on the left. Let's see if he does this time. Okay, good. You need 14 rubies in this run, and Most of them you get in Eastern, so having 2 right now is not good, but it's not that big of a deal. Hardest room after this one. It's called the Zelda game room. Really good RNG. That's kind of why the rubies don't really matter. Like, now I have enough rubies, so. Pretty good, Armos. Yeah, so notice every time you beat a boss, you get a heart container, you heal after and you get magic back. In Mirror Shield, you don't defeat any bosses because you just need the items. So you don't heal and you don't get magic back. So again, that's kind of the gimmick of this category, and it's kind of fun. And again, it's really not as hard as it sounds. It's really like noob friendly. I think it's good too because it teaches the good fundamentals of like speedrunning of playing this game. I guess more specifically, because it's a lot more important to not die, to not take damage, than it is to like, you know, go as fast as you can and save a frame here and there. And I think this category teaches that a lot better than Master Sword does. Okay, good. Really good, actually. That was really, really good movement. Right there, if you let go of B and then press A and then touch a ladder, you move really fast. And actually, we got the boots too, which makes this game a hell of a lot more fun. And a lot easier on your hands, so it's kind of nice. You don't have that pump everywhere now. His book's actually used a lot in this run. Kind of funny. Fine. I think Desert is probably, honestly, it's probably the easiest dungeon, but it's definitely the easiest light world dungeon. I guess, like, unless you kind of escape. But the boss is really, really difficult. So it's kind of weird. If you evaluate your time at certain points in light world, usually I evaluate it before and after Landmo, and then add the dungeons, just because Landmo is kind of a it's a huge time swing. Which is really something I like about this game, is that like Landmo is such a big time swing that losing time before Landmo is not that big of a deal. It's worth it to keep going your run. Same deal with Aghanim, same deal with most of Dark World, and you don't really get that feeling in Master Sword. When you play Master Sword and you get a bad escape, it's gonna impact the rest of the run pretty dramatically. But in this run, even if you get a bad Aghanim, like a lot of times your run's not completely dead. That's really tight. Coming across my favorite cannonball room. Here's another door you don't want to hold diagonal out of, which is kind of weird because you need to hold diagonal immediately after the doorway. And that's the room. You only lose like I think 4 frames or something, 5 frames if you hold diagonal out that doorway. But it really changes how the room plays out just because of the RNG and the timers. Cannonballs is one of two different RNG things in this. Actually, you can lose about a second on the overworld to RNG, like lag, which is kind of hard to notice, but outside of the overworld, it's just cannonballs and then this Pobo room that's coming up. That sucks. Oh, that's really good RNG. If they converge like that, you can flash them in one flash. That's it's really rare though. Okay, good. I really don't want to get hit here because land mode is kind of dangerous. It's mostly safe, but it's kind of dangerous, especially if you have like 2 hearts. Sometimes if it goes kind of wrong, you can die. And this is land mode, everyone's favorite boss. Okay, that's fine. I got a 3 cycle, that's fine. One thing in this category is arrows and bombs pretty much don't matter at all, so normally in land mode you want to like kind of conserve your arrows, and in Agatha's Tower also you want to like conserve your arrows, but in this category they don't matter, so it's like if you have 4 arrows after your land mode you're good. If you have 5 arrows, which is normally really bad. Okay, good. Sometimes that sand guy hits you. I have no idea why. It's really annoying. Okay, good. That screen's actually really hard. Or not hard, but it's like annoying. It's called fake flippers. I don't have the flippers yet, but you can still swim if you have screen transition. Which is, it actually doesn't say very much time. I think it's, people say 6, but I think it's closer to like 8. Realistically, it's closer to 8 or 9. But it needs to be double checked. I don't know, maybe Zelda could do it in like 6.5 or something. That's good. Something actually in this game that like really subtle and barely matters, it's almost never worth considering, is like entering doorways and nudging against walls. It doesn't lose that much time, but it's only a few frames every time you do it, but like it really starts to add up. And so if you kind of get better doorway nudges and stuff, it can help a lot. Although it's mostly out of your control, in my opinion. Just try to don't enter them like super late. Yeah, that was fine. If you enter warps from the right, it's called a quick warp, and it's like half a second quicker, which is pretty weird. Or not from the right, but it's like random pixels. Like I got both there, which is good. Saves a second, so entering warp saves a second. That's nice. A second's a lot in this game. Although it's not really at the same time, but. Okay, good. This room right here is really difficult in my opinion. Or not difficult necessarily, but like really, it's tight. Okay, good. Let's call it item dash. I mean, again, if you guys know what I'm talking about, you're probably like, oh, why is this guy, saying anything? I'm mostly doing commentary for people that don't play the game. But, Yeah, if you press two buttons on the same frame, or like dash in an item, you'll dash with it, which is pretty cool. It's pretty neat. It's another reason I like this category, because in Master Sword, again, you don't really see item dashes. And you don't really see spin speeds. In this category, because you go into Dark World, you kind of do see some item dashes. You see a lot of more complex menus also in Dark World. And of course, by complex, I mean, you know, you move the menu 3 times instead of 1. But that's good. First bomb jumps coming up. I'm really bad at this though. Also, there's a rail right there that loses time. Like really subtle. It just shows how complex the game actually is. Darn. I'm sure everybody knows Moldorm. Almost died. I almost started there. Almost died. That was so bad. Yeah, Moldorm. He's actually not that difficult, but he's really easy to lose time on. If something goes wrong, especially for like newer players, which actually I think is good for Master Sword because it's kind of a fun, exciting end to the run. Like you're minus a minute or whatever, and then you get the Moldorm and you fall 3 times and you get really nervous. I think that actually does have a lot of merit. In this game or this category, you just grab an item and then that's it. The run's over. There's no nerves at all. It's like, did you? It's not. That's a good example of all the little stuff that can go wrong in this game, which is a really good reason to try really hard to focus. But I think in a marathon, have to sacrifice some of that. I didn't lose too much time on that also. Alright, cool, I got the Master Sword. That's nice. I can't read the chat too. If you guys are flaming me, I am you know, feel free to do so. I can't respond. This run, I would say it's pretty tight because most of Dark World's really consistent, and Aghanim's pretty RNG based. So usually you lose time in Aghanim. So a big 10-second mistake like that, flying in that cave, kind of significant. If you're doing like RTA. Okay, good. Aghanim's Tower is coming up. It's really, it's actually kind of hard, and more than just hard though, it's like it's kind of RNG dependent. A lot of it is dependent on having sword beams or not, and entering kind of the same too. The first room, there's like 4 different strats you can do. There's 3 main strats and then like two variations. But I don't have beams for that, so it doesn't change too much, fortunately, but it does kind of. Actually, it changes a lot because in the room after, in the third, I guess it's the third room, but the second room, depending on the drops, you get later drops in T-Rock, and as I said earlier, T-Rock's super RNG dependent, so it actually matters a lot. And like in this room, I don't want any drops here. I got a heart, so that's okay. That's actually kind of good because I get my beams back. If I get a fairy on the bridge in Dark World, in House of Darkness, then I don't get a fairy in T-Rock, basically. Which is kind of bad, because T-Rock, you're doing the whole thing with like 2 hearts. Darn. I could have grabbed that heart, but I'm not sure it's better. Good RNG there. I've been struggling with that room recently. This room is absolutely horrible. And I got really good RNG, so it's nice. So yeah, this guy right here probably, well, if I was doing RTA, I don't have a timer, so I don't know how good this run is, but my PB is not that good, so like, the run's probably still okay. Like, the first 3 dungeons were really good, but then I lost like 15 seconds here. Maybe like 20, actually. Which kind of sucks, but so very likely the run's gonna die on this guy right here. So, that sucks, but I mean, that's just the reality of this game, so. It's kind of the deal where it's like, it favors consistency quite a bit over playing all erratic. If you can't play calm playing this game, like, it's really hard to perform on a good run, and you never know when you're gonna get a good run. Sometimes you don't play for like 2 months straight, and then you pick the game up, and you get really good RNG, and it's like, you need to be able to perform really well. Also, if you have a good ear, the audio is going out. That's just Amber. I don't know why, like, my computer does it. This is actually really good RNG. If you get 3 blue balls, you lose a ton of time. I have 2, so less than 3 is good. I got 3. 3, it's average, but realistically, it sucks. That's 24 seconds over 0 blue balls, which is like pretty much unrecoverable. 2 blue balls is 12 seconds, which is bad. That's a bad time loss, but it's a lot more realistic. Also, though, we're at a light world at least, which is really nice. Dark World is a lot more fun. It's a lot more standard. It's a lot more consistent. It's higher stakes too, I think. Fun. And that's kind of what I mean. It's like, what if I get 0 blue balls and the run's really good? It's like, you gotta be really consistent. Like, if you're not really confident with playing under pressure, you're gonna get bodied pretty hard. Which you kind of saw already happen to me a little bit. I don't mind the audio. I don't know why. My computer's falling apart. It's falling apart. It's paper. It's a paper computer. These robos do 2 hearts to damage. And you don't heal. Again, the gimmick of this category is that you don't heal, and you take a damage in Skullwoods and Palace of Darkness because of the bomb jumps. So really, you have about 4 hearts to work with. Fortunately, there is like 4 or 5 safety hearts you could get, and there's a tree, and there's some fairies along the way, so it's not like the end of the world. But and actually, that's part of the reason I think this category is really noob friendly. But basically, like, you gotta play really safe. You gotta really, like, if you should be playing safe in Light World, but right in the Dark World, you need to play like ultra safe. Okay, good RNG there. And actually, I think it's really cool because this category is actually really cool at a optimized, when it gets really optimized, because actually I'm gonna say it after this. Just don't want to mess up. If you have sword beams going into T-Rock and going into Mire, you save a lot of time. Actually, I think it's just Mire. I think, yeah, if you have sword beam going into Mire, you save a lot of time, and if you lose a heart, it makes getting sword beams like significantly harder. So, even at a really optimized level, you pretty much have to play perfectly in Dark World. That's fine. I lost a lot of time on that, but if you fall there, it's very significant actually, because you lose an extra heart, you lose a bomb, you lose like 15 seconds. So it's a lot. It's really worth it to just take the time loss and pause buffer onto the pixel. Also, these robos, again, they do 2 hearts, and they actually hit you out of your dash like randomly, like a lot, which I have no idea why. Alright, I know why, but I mean, it's just. It's really frustrating. The bird does 3 hearts, that dude does 3 hearts. Getting hit, missing this hammer dash is really significant. Okay, that was good. This, I don't think, yeah, this rope can't hit you, because you're above him, basically. Oh yeah, actually a really fun part about this category is the splits, because pretty much we split at all the item pickups, so there's like 15 different splits and they're all like a minute apart. It's pretty fun. If you do this room too fast, that green guard will hit you, which is really annoying, especially in this category, because again, it pretty much can't get hit. Getting hit right here is extremely bad. Extremely bad. We're going to be picking up flute, the gloves, the hammer, which I got, Ether, Quake, the fire rod, Cane of Samaria, and then you can eventually get the mirror shield. You can finally get it. So, and actually, I think it's really cool because in this category, actually, I need to play again. This category, it samples Dark World really well. And a lot of the dungeons, it just does the first half. It's not too easy, it's not too difficult. Like in Palace of Darkness, you do bomb jump, but you don't really do anything after that. You know, bomb jump's kind of significant. There's some fairies if you know you lose 10 hearts. But in Thieves is another good example where it's like, you do the overworld, you do Hellway, you don't really do anything else. It's not super challenging, but it does kind of like introduce Dark World really well. These red guys do 2 hearts also. There's a heart in that left pot, but I don't think it's worth getting unless you're like down. Oops. Really good RNG. If you can dash on the middle pixel, you don't have to worry about that room, which is really nice. Because if you don't get it, the room is awful. I mean, it's called Hellway for a reason. But that is pretty much Thieves in this category. It's pretty much just Hellway, and then that's it. Just dashing. That's pretty good. I think I lost some time on the overworld. I bonked in the dungeon, but overall it's pretty solid. Skullwoods is kind of difficult in this category because you have to do bomb jump and the mummy room. And mummy room, I don't think mummy room is like too difficult, but like mummy room, if stuff goes wrong, it's a huge time loss, and like plus you don't kill any of these ropas, so like if you're not good at the overworld, you're gonna get it can go really bad. Take a good guy. I got kind of good RNG here. Okay, good. That was really tight. Gonna play it safe. It's a good example of like just trying to not die from the stupid all the just enemies everywhere. That's really bad. That's very unfortunate. You lose a lot of time if that happens, basically, and you lose a lot of hearts too. And I definitely don't want 2 hearts because there's an enemy that like randomly kills you if you have 2 hearts in this next segment. So that is really bad, but that's also kind of displays where it's like everything kind of needs to go right, and it's very worth it to like play safe on purpose to make stuff go right, which is, again, I like this category for that reason. It kind of teaches that attitude, it teaches that type of gameplay. I had to arrow those dudes. You don't need to arrow them, but I'm not very good at hovering, so. Yeah, these guys can hit you quite a bit. And it's just not worth it. Like they'll randomly hit you. It's pretty low odds. It's like 5%, but it's really not worth it to risk it. So that's really unfortunate. It's quite a bit of time lost, but Can't be too salty, whatever. My goal, I wanted to get a 48. I don't think I'm on 48 pace anymore, but I wanted to just not die at least. I haven't been playing too well lately, and I keep dying everywhere, so. Darn, I was hoping for a hard there. Nice, good RNG. You actually can get hearts and fairies in these 4 bushes. I don't normally think it's a good idea, but actually that saves a lot of time. I got lucky there, and it's just because it's a marathon. I think it's worth it to take the loss, get the fairy. I don't think that's a quick rope. That's a really easy. Missing that quick rope is kind of questionable, but it's fine. I don't want to bonk. That's fine. This is actually a part of the run I like a lot because magic. You have to look at your magic now because you don't heal magic, and there's a few like full magic meters, so you have to kind of work with that. Good menu. The reason you want beams so badly is because that room it saves. It's like 2 to 3 seconds faster if you have beams, and you can do it twice. So it saves a lot of time to have beams in this dungeon. And so getting that fairy was actually really lucky. This snake is really annoying. This is about a second. Maybe it's like 1.5. Another cool thing, you don't need to hit the switch in this category. Because you mirror out, actually. It's really neat. Oh, this slug does 4 hearts too, which is really annoying. It's fine. I don't know why the slug does 4 hearts. Losing a heart there really sucks because now I can't do the second room again. But I didn't die. I didn't lose 4 hearts. You know? I only lost 1, so that's nice at least. Although, yeah, like, what should I do? Should I mirror here and just kind of risk it in the second room, or should I not mirror? I think realistically I should not mirror. Not mirroring is really easy, except for one room is kind of difficult. I don't know how to do it. This room right here, I'm not really sure how to do it. I think that's the best thing you can do. I wanted to mirror. I really want to do that, but it's fine. Whatever. T-Rock's actually the really cool dungeon. I found some really cool strats yesterday for T-Rock. And that's Meyer, so now we're going up to T-Rock. Beams don't matter, and this is why this category to me it perplexes me, because if you have Sync Heart, you can save 2 seconds if you have full hearts, and you get a fairy drop. Yeah, this is Death Mountain, everyone's favorite mountain, appropriately named. That's almost really bad, but. So that's if you get Sankar, you need sword beams and you need to get fairy, and it saves a ton of time. But I got hit twice, so it's like kind of the reason I think it's better to, as in our fairy, it's better to not go for that strat. It's just like realistically, it's just not worth it. The alternative is really easy. Although there is a fairy in a rock coming up soon. See. Cool item dash. I've seen a lot of testing. I think going low, under like that, loses that a second. It's really consistent. Really hard quick warp. If you item dash here, actually, if you wonder why it dashed right there, if you item dash right here, it you can get spin speed on this staircase. It saves like 15 frames. It's pretty cool. Also, notice how tight the magic is. Oh yeah, you need a bomb. This is actually really cool. If you mirror, because you mirror, so you do that screen twice, but you need to get the bomb on the first time, because if you get it on the second time, you actually have slightly less magic for the rest of the dungeon, and if you don't get a magic drop, then again, this is kind of like, I'm gonna get this safety heart. It's kind of a tangent, but if you don't get a magic drop, then it you run out of magic. So you actually should get it's faster to get the bomb on the first try. It's kind of, I don't know, it doesn't matter too much. I love that. I freaked out when I saw that. My favorite strat. If you have if you notice my magic gets full right now, if you get the bomb there, it'll be like slightly lower. I guess you could use extra fire rods, and then it would make your magic lower, which means you could still get the bomb, but whatever. This is cool too. Hey, I got the fairy. Really good RNG this run. Also, one of very few runs where hitting that switch is like decidedly faster. It's faster in the normal category, but it saves 10 frames, and it's probably one of the hardest things in the game, I think. It makes the next room like one of the most difficult things. So it's really not worth it. But in this category, it saves like several seconds, and it's easier. So these pokies, whenever you fire at them, sometimes they have a projectile that launches from them, and it does 4 hearts. Right there. So kind of risky. It makes this category very on edge right at the end. You have to kill 4 pokies, so it's really easy to die like randomly by pokies. Also, you don't need to hit that switch. It's just cool. This is the last difficult room in the game. Alright, that's fine. I like beaming after you throw the fire rod, because it'll kill the projectile. Alright, so I time when I get the mirror, like when I click on it. I time. There's the run, guys. There's mirror shield. No saving quit. I hope it wasn't. I hope it wasn't too bad. $49.22. Not as good as I was hoping, but I mean, I don't know. I'll tell you, like, can't complain too much. Most of the time loss was in Skullwoods and in Aghanim, and then I fell in the cave, so the majority of the time loss, and Actually, yeah, it was just those two things. So the majority of the time loss was just a few things. So most of the run was pretty good. I saw a lot of good stuff. Really good RNG for the most part. I got Hellway. I got the sword beams. I got 3-cycle landmo. Get him. Well, that's the whole run, guys. If you like Mirror Shield, if you like Link to the Past, I say give this run. If you already run this game, I'd say, and you don't run this category, I think you should try it out at least. If you don't run this game and you don't plan on it, well, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, but it's a really fun category. It's really lightweight. It's really relaxed. It's not as stressful as it looks. It's pretty low key, which I think is really fun.